Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone joining us from different parts of the world. So, very warm welcome to today's webinar, and thank you for making the time to be with us. Our topic today is BRS COPs and mineral reporting. So, which is key updates for Q2 2025. So, an area where staying informed is not just helpful but essential. We will be covering the latest changes, trends, and practical implementations in both the topics, which is BRS COPs, convention compliance, and conflict minerals reporting landscape. So let's get right into it. Next slide. Sanjita, can you move to the next slide?
Yeah, actually, I'm trying. Um, just a minute. Um, Actually, I cannot change the slides. So, Asha, can you share your screen?
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, now your screen is.
Oh, yes, Asha.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Apologies, everyone. So before we dive into the main content, a few housekeeping. So it's already took 2 minutes, so I'll be going fast. So all attendees are muted by default. So to minimize any background noise, we absolutely encourage your participation to the comment box. If you have any questions, please feel free to enter it in the comment box. We will get back into the end of the session, or we will be getting back to you in an email. So after the webinar, a short feedback survey will appear. Please provide us the feedback, which will help us to improve and tailor our future sessions better to your needs. And the session is being recorded. So if you have opted in, you will receive the recording as well. So with that, let's continue to the next slide. So a little bit about API engineering. So with over 25 years of industry experience, we serve clients across the US, EU, and APAC regions. We are ISO 27001, 9001, and TISAC certified. So proudly supporting a global customers base of around 400 plus organizations. So for those of you who are maybe new to API engineering, here's a quick overview of how we operate across 4 major service lines, which is our compliance, helping you navigate and stay aligned with evolving global regulations. Engineering division providing innovative and cost-effective design solutions, and our sourcing division offers access to verified high-quality suppliers and components. And the last is cataloging and the IT division, which is organizing a product and data for streamlined management. So in compliance, we do offer services, compliance service, and turnkey solutions for the services mentioned here. Next slide. Also, we deliver end-to-end compliance solutions, so covering over 70 plus global regulations. The few are mentioned here, which is very important, and ensuring our clients stay ahead of evolving industries and regulatory requirements. So currently, we are proud to work with 12 major OEMs and over 150 tier 1 and tier 2 suppliers globally, helping them to stay compliant and audit ready across global regulations. Now, let me introduce our experts for today's sessions. It's my pleasure to introduce our speakers who are from our regulatory watch team, Ms. Sanjita and Asha. Sanjita is one of our regulatory engineers closely tracking updates across all the global minerals reporting and the BRS. Asha, our senior regulatory engineer, brings several years of experience in helping clients implement compliant reporting workflows across diverse regulatory frameworks. So we are excited, and I'm also excited to hear from both of them today. So with that, I will hand it over to Sanjita to begin the session. Over to you, Sanjita.
Thank you, Pavitra. Thanks for your introduction. So, good day to everyone. So, today I'm going to cover 2025 BRS COPs, Basel Convention and Rotterdam Conventions Global Update. So, we can deep dive into the slides. Asha, next slide, please. Yeah. So, yeah. Actually, in 2025, from 28 April to 9 May 2025, joint meeting of the Conference of Parties like Basel, Rotterdam, and Stockholm Convention meeting was held with the theme of making visible the invisible, which means focusing on the hidden impacts of hazardous chemicals and waste. So the important outcomes by Basel Convention in the COP 17 is Annexure 4 amended, and then the new strategic framework from 2025 to 2031 was implemented, and then new focus areas are introduced. So under Annexure 4 amendment, it clarifies definitions of waste disposal operations, for example, recycling versus final disposal. And then under new strategic framework, which guides global efforts to reduce hazardous waste generation and improve environmentally sound management. And then under the new focus area, which means work initiated on the management of textile waste. So an emerging global issue due to fast fashion. So this is the new focus area, which is textile waste. And here, by using this link, you can find the annexure information for Basel Convention. So under Rotterdam Convention, the important outcomes are new chemicals listing, which is carbenosulfan pesticide and fenthion ULV, also called as ULV, used for pest control. So both chemicals are listed under Annexure 3. So usually Annexure 3 lists of hazardous pesticides and industrial chemicals that are subject to the PIC procedure. So, and the second is governance improvements. So steps taken to reform the convention's chemical review committee to improve transparency and effectiveness. So by using this link, you can access the Annexure 3 chemicals list. So it's time for a quick poll. So we can read the questions and can select any one of the answer. So the next is Stockholm Convention's important outcome. So here new persistent organic pollutants listed in Annexure A. This is for elimination. And then there are limited exemptions, and then UV328 listing reopened. So the new POPs listed in Annexure A are chloropyrifos, pesticide, and long chain perfluorinated carboxylic acids used in coating and textiles, and medium chain chlorinated paraffins used in plastic, rubber, and sealants. And the limited exemptions granted to allow short-term use in some countries. And then UV328 listing reopened for further consideration due to its industrial importance, as it is used in additive and plastics. So by clicking this link, you can access chemicals under Stockholm Convention. So, in the previous slides, we discussed about under the individual conventions our important outcomes. So, in this slide, what all these three jointly did. So, 56 joint decisions adopted across the three conventions to harmonize procedures and promote integrated implementation. So, the first is ministers highlighted the need for digital product tracking, extended producer responsibility. So the producers take responsibility for the entire life cycle of their products, especially for what happens to them after consumers use them. So, and the third is sustainable finance mechanisms and science policy collaboration. So the importance placed on addressing links between chemicals, waste, and other global challenges like climate change and biodiversity loss. So now we are going to see about global regulatory update under Basel Convention. So the Basel Convention is a global agreement to control how hazardous waste moves across borders and how it is managed safely. So Annexure 4 is the part of the convention that lists different ways waste can be disposed or of recycled. So at the 2025 meeting, Conference of Parties 17, countries agreed to update Annex 4 to, make the definitions clear between recycling and disposal. And also stop waste from being wrongly called recycling when it is just dumping or burning. And it also helps all countries use the same rules, so there is less confusion. And the fourth point is protect the environment better while also supporting real recycling and reuse. So new strategic framework which adopted from 2025 to 2031 under Basel Convention is the Basel Convention provides the main international rules for controlling hazardous waste worldwide. And the second is its goal is to reduce how much hazardous waste is created, actively present or minimize its creation at the source itself. And then it promotes environmentally sound management, making sure waste is treated, transported, recycled, or disposed of in ways that protect health and the environment. And the fourth is new strategic framework strengthen its role by setting global priorities for reducing hazardous waste and improving ESM practices everywhere. So the countries are guided to prevent and minimize waste generation, and then encourage recycling and recovery, safe and possible instead of dumping or burning, and then ensure safe disposal when waste cannot be reused or recycled, and cooperate globally to stop illegal dumping and exports of hazardous waste. So, in the previous slides, I told that it focused on a new area, so which is a textile waste. So, why textile waste means has become a major global issue driven by fast fashion and short product life cycles. And then the large volumes of used clothes are exported, often ending up in landfills or incineration in developing countries. So, this is the first time textiles are formally addressed under the Basel Convention framework. And it works is aligned with the circular economy principles, encouraging reuse, repair, and recycling of textiles. So the goal of this work include assessing impacts of global trade in used textiles, identifying the environmental and social challenges linked to textile waste, and preparing recommendations for action under the Convention to manage textile waste sustainably. So the next is Rotterdam Convention's regulatory update. So here, carbenosulfan, which is under pesticide, it is added to Annexure 3. It need a prior informed consent before export and import. And then Fenthion ULB under pest control. So action it is already added to Annexure 3. So the implication is prior informed control procedure is mandatory for trade. So both chemicals are now subject to international trade control. So ensuring that countries are fully informed and consent before they are exported. Okay. So what are the governance improvements under Rotterdam Convention? We can see here. So the first is, it operates with greater accountability, scientific rigor, and stakeholder engagement under these 5 categories. So first, enhanced transparency, improved effectiveness, and strengthened expert participation, and better interaction with parties and structured follow-up. So under enhanced transparency, meeting now have clearly agendas and the publicly available reports. So it makes decision and rationales are communicated openly to parties. And then under the second, streamlined procedures for evaluating chemicals for listing and prioritization for substances based on hazard and trade relevance. And under third category, broader involvement of independent scientific experts, clearer guidelines on conflict of interest management. And under fourth, Parties can submit comments and data more efficiently, so feedback mechanism to address concerns before listing decisions. And then under structured follow-up, tracking of previously reviewed chemicals for further action and monitoring implementation of prior informed consent requirements. So these are all the governance improvements. So then the upcoming slides are going to handle by Asha.
Thank you, Sanjita. I'm going to cover the key updates related to Stockholm Convention. So this is about the Stockholm Convention action plan, especially the push to eliminate the PCBs. Polychlorinated biphenyls, are in short called as PCBs, are a group of toxic chemicals that were used a lot in the past, mainly in electrical equipment like transformers, capacitors, and insulating oil. They were very common until 1980s. The problem is these chemicals are extremely harmful. Once they are released, they do not break down easily. They stay in the environment for many years. They move into the food chain and slowly they start affecting human health and the entire ecosystem. The problem is these chemicals are extremely harmful. Once they are released, they do not break down easily. So let us see the urgent action plans requested from the parties. Recently, the convention is also asking every country to take some urgent steps. Firstly, we must update and maintain the national inventories. That means we should have a clear record of where all the PCB containing parts and equipment are still present. Secondly, it is not only in big transformers and capacitors. PCBs may also be present in things like cable coatings, paints, etc. So countries must identify these materials also. Thirdly, disposal is very important. We cannot simply throw PCB wastes anywhere. It must be managed safely and disposed as per the Basel Convention guidelines, which are the international rules for waste handling. Finally, each country must report their progress. These reports should also be in line with other waste treaties. Goals and deadlines are also updated under this. The convention has two clear deadlines. By 2025, all the equipment containing PCBs should be completely stopped from use. And by the year 2028, every country should ensure that all PCB waste and PCB containing materials are disposed of in an environmentally sound manner. So next we have an important updates from the meeting. The new technical guidance was released. The Secretariat has issued an updated technical guidance to help countries in two ways. First, to identify and analyze where PCBs are present, and second, to build complete national inventories. Unless countries know exactly where PCBs are and in what quantities, elimination is not possible. This guidance directly supports the 2025 phase out and 2028 disposal deadlines. Next, the strategic acceleration. PCB phase out progress was originally set for review in 2027, but the Secretariat now recommends an earlier review at COP12. An earlier check will give countries more time to act and reduce the risk of missing the deadline. So coming to the global coordination, to make this happen, there has been a close international coordination. Important meetings included a face-to-face session in Geneva in October 2024, supported by the European Union. And also Moldova led the working group that developed the strategy, showing how even smaller countries can take leadership roles in this global treaties. Then technical support and funding needs. Developing and transition countries face challenges in capacity and funding. So technical help is being provided to strengthen this elimination and reporting. So a report also identifies funding needs and challenges, helping mobilize resources more effectively. So coming to the compliance and monitoring, all parties are recommended to comply with Part 12 of Annex A on PCBs. This message is very clear. By 2028, all phase-out work must be truly completed. So let us see the dechlorine plus discussions. In 2023, the Stockholm Convention officially listed dechlorine plus, including both its syn and anti-isomers, under Annex A of the convention because of its PVT properties. Dechlorine plus is a chlorinated flame retardant. It is used in applications where high heat resistance is needed, like in aerospace, defense, like certain electronic products, etc. Now, under this convention, its use is generally banned. However, there are a few registered exemptions under Article 4 of this convention. That means in very limited cases where no alternatives exist, some controlled use may be allowed temporarily. So if we see the global context, different countries are at different stages in handling dechlorine plus. In the United Kingdom, they have an adopted restrictions like Stockholm Convention. So they are aligned with these global decisions. But in case of United States, the situation is different. The US has not yet ratified. So they do not have equivalent restrictions on dechlorine plus yet. So we will see the time limited exemptions of few countries that were discussed in COP12. First, we have South Africa. This exemption is only for replacement parts and repairs as per the paragraphs 2 and 3 of Part 11 of the Annex A under this convention. To simply say, it lets companies keep using UV 328 in certain after sales spare parts. So vehicles already in use can be serviced and repaired. So expiry dates, the exemption has a clear timeline. For paragraph 2 articles, it is valid until the end of service life or 2044, whichever is earlier. Means if the product's end life has approached earlier than 2044, then that is the expiry date. If not, expiry date is 2044. So for paragraph 3, articles ends no later than 2041. So the estimated quantity and scale, the actual chemical use is very small globally when compared to global. So around 58.31 grams per year. So in case of 5,000 vehicles, about only 2 parts each. So it totals to around 10,000 units per year. So when we consider for 35 vehicles, it's like very less than 10 grams per vehicle. So while the numbers of vehicles are very large, the actual chemical load is relatively low. So the purpose of the exemption, the main purpose is to ensure replacement parts and repair services are available. It mainly applies to camera recorders, switches and display products, legacy parts needed for after sale services. So without this, companies could not legally supply these parts in South Africa, affecting customers and vehicle sales. So why the exemption? Like, what is the reason for the exemption? There are two main reasons, that is life cycle and investment, and time for the alternatives, that is at least 5 years are needed to find safe substitute materials. So the exemption acts as a bridge, allowing operations to continue while safer alternatives are prepared. So the summary of South African exemption applications shows how the convention balances environmental protection with practical industry needs. So let us see the Japan's use case. In Japan, the exemption for dechlorine plus is only for space and defense applications. It is not for a commercial products, but for a critical sectors needing high performance. So the expiry date is 26 February and that is 2030. So it is time limited approval and it is not a permanent expiry date. So coming to the quantity, about 1 ton per year is allowed compared to global industrial use. This is very small, showing it is a niche application, not a mass production. And the purpose of the exemption is to manufacture heat insulators for space and defense. These sectors face extreme temperatures requiring chemicals like dechlorine plus to ensure reliability. So the reason for exemption is like no suitable substitutes are exist at present. So they need some time to fix to the alternatives. So that is the reason for the exemption. And coming to the remarks, the exemption is strictly limited to defense related application. Civilian use is not allowed. It ensures national defense and space programs can continue safely. So let us see the Turkey use case. Turkey allows dechlorine plus for multiple uses, that is aerospace, space and defense, medical imaging and radiotherapy, replacement parts and repair. So compared to Japan and South Africa, Turkey covers the wider range, including the healthcare as well. So the expiry date also depends. For all use cases, it is 26 February 2030. And for the use case 3 and use case 4, the exemption lasts until the end of life of the device or 2041. At the latest. And the quantity is not known yet because demand depends on the number of medical devices and aerospace systems in use. To support the aerospace defense and medical devices, critical fields where reliability and safety are essential. So that is the purpose, and there is no suitable alternatives exist yet, and that is the reason for the exemption. So now let us look on UV 328 aircraft exemption, which was discussed under this convention. So UV328 is a chemical additive called a UV stabilizer. It is used in plastics coatings, adhesives and tapes to protect materials from sunlight degradation. Let us see the aim of the exemption. At COP12, Ethiopia proposed a specific exemption for limited use of UV328 in aircraft. This applies to both civilian and military aircraft, including certain spare parts. The aim is to give the aviation sector time to find the safer alternative. So this is the aim. And coming to the regulatory context, UV328 was listed in Annex A at COP11 in May 2023 due to its PBT properties. And at COP12, the parties adopted decision number SC12 to allow this new aircraft specific exemption. So the part 12 of Annex A will be updated to include this exemption. Coming to the scope of the exemption, only civil and military aircraft is included for this exemption. Applies to UV328 in adhesives, sealants, coatings, insulation and potting compounds used in the aircraft. The important conditions include no new manufacture of UV328 is allowed, only existing stockpiles may be used. Countries using the exemptions must register and report usage annually. So annual reporting is there. And the duration and validity, the exemption is valid for 5 years under Article 4 from the date it enters into force. There is a 1-year delay before the exemption becomes effective after official listing. In-use products can remain in service until the end of life of the aircraft part. So this is all about the UV328. So let us see the upcoming actions and essential insights of UV328. So the parties may provisionally apply the exemption if they register in writing before the amendment officially enters into force. And affected parties must report annually on quantities, specific application, and progress toward elimination of the substances. The POP RC committee will assess these reports and provide recommendations to COP13, that is which is coming in the future. And coming to the essential insights, so this is the first time a previously listed POP has been reopened to allow a new exemption, setting a potential precedent. NGOs have raised concerns that this could undermine the convention's credibility and open the door to future backtracking. But proponents argue that some critical aerospace applications currently have no viable alternatives, making a temporary exemption is necessary. And next we'll discuss about a global ban on chlorpyrifos. Chlorpyrifos is a widely used pesticide commonly applied to rice, maize, cotton, and sugarcane. It is harmful to human health, particularly affecting children's brain development. Also, it is toxic to wildlife, already banned or restricted in over 100 countries, but still used in some regions due to its effectiveness and low cost. Importance of the ban. This ban is a major step for global health and environment protection. It encourages transition to safer alternatives, especially in countries still reliant on chlorpyrifos. So it recognizes the agricultural realities by allowing limited monitored use until 2029. Reinforces the Stockholm Convention role in controlling POPs. The future action plans include countries granted exemptions must report usage annually and phase out chlorpyrifos and identify safer alternatives. And the final elimination deadline is 2029. So monitoring and technical support will be provided by the Convention's Secretariat. And the decision highlights regarding the chlorpyrifos include the chlorpyrifos is now listed in Annex A, which is the elimination list of the Stockholm Convention. Some countries still depend on chlorpyrifos for agriculture. To address this, a 5-year time limited exemption is granted for specific uses. And exempted uses include pest control in rice, maize, cotton and sugarcane. Control of locusts, cattle ticks and termites were also exempted. And eligibility for exemption, only countries that registered for exemptions during negotiations are allowed. For example, India. So India can continue to use chlorpyrifos under strict conditions and reporting requirements. And restrictions during exemption, no new manufacturing and no expansion of applications beyond those registered are encouraged. So there are strict conditions on this. And let us see the global ban on long chain PFCAs. Perfluorocarboxylic acids are in short called as PFCAs. These are the subset of PFAS. They are extremely persistent in the environment, and so it is also called as forever chemicals. Common uses include firefighting foams, semiconductor manufacturing, textile and leather treatments, food contact materials, inks, paints, adhesives, and lubricants, etc. So, what is covered under this ban? The long chain PFCAs with the formula shown on this slide are covered under this ban. Precursors that can transform into these substances are also banned. The implementation and guidance include a list of PFCA substances will be prepared to help countries identify which chemicals are regulated, and countries can also suggest additional PFCA variants to make the list more complete. Industries and authorities need to update product inventories, compliance systems, and labels. Countries are encouraged to use safer alternatives rather than switching to other harmful PFAS, and procurement policies should gradually phase out long chain PFCA uses. So let us see the PFCA's decision highlights. The long chain PFCAs, their salts and precursors are now listed in Annex A of the Stockholm Convention, and specific exemptions are firefighting foams are allowed to use them for 5 more years until 2030. Temporary uses with rules, that is semiconductors in old style engine vessel repairs cannot use them for the first 5 years after the rule starts. So vehicle replacement parts for old models can use them until 2041 or until the vehicle is no longer in service, or whichever comes first. And the implementation timeline is, since the decision was adopted in May 2025, the amendments are expected to enter into force in May 2026. So now UN moves to ban certain chlorinated paraffins, that is C14 to C17 carbon chain. So a proposal at the COP12 recommends listing the chlorinated paraffins with C14 to C17 chain and greater than or equal to 45% chlorine in Annex A of the Stockholm Convention. The reason for the restriction is the chlorinated paraffins are classified as POPs. Those will not break down easily in the environment. They can travel long distance via air and water. Those are harmful to human health and wildlife. Obligations for countries are, countries must ban the non-exempted productions and uses, label and disclose concentration in articles containing chlorinated paraffins. It requires manufacturers to notify authorities about their use and protect workers using exempted applications, and to monitor and tighten limits over time to ensure the safe phase out. And UN, let us see some temporary exemptions on chlorinated paraffins that is done by UN. So PVC products, adhesives and sealants, industrial tapes, for these three, the exemption period is up to 5 years. And for metalworking fluid, the exemption is until 2036, and for replacement parts, it is until end of life or until 2041. So whichever comes first. So this is these are the temporary exemptions, and it will apply only after the approval. So these are all about the important discussions and updates happened in the Stockholm Convention. Now let us look at RMI's update on the new AMRT template version. So AMRT stands for All Minerals Reporting Template. It is a standardized tool developed by the RMI. It helps companies collect and report sourcing information for minerals not covered by the templates such as CMRT and EMRT. So CMRT, we know that it is for 3TG, and EMRT, it is for cobalt, mica, lithium, nickel, and etc. So whichever the minerals that is not covered under these two can be covered in the AMRT, and we have around 10 minerals reporting options there. So the use case, companies sourcing additional minerals can use AMRT to assess supplier due diligence, to identify smelters and processors, ensure responsible sourcing practices. So that new version of AMRT, that is 1.21, gives the clearer guidance for reporting non-3TG minerals. It is the latest release that it released on May 16, 2025, and it's a very minor update. It is compatible with version 1.2. The important changes include the improved guidance in the minerals scope tab to help users select and define minerals they are reporting. No changes to data fields or any file structure because it should ensure the continuity and easy adoption. And companies can define and report up to 10 minerals per template in this one. And significance of the update, it encourages greater transparency and due diligence for minerals not yet regulated, aligns with the OECD due diligence guidance for responsible supply chains. It helps companies identify smelters not yet part of formal audit programs. It reduces the supplier burden by using a consistent recognized format. So it is same as CMRT and EMRT. So future updates and recommendations include the RMI recommends using AMRT version 1.2 or higher, that is version 1.21. The next version is expected in the fall in 2025, and companies are encouraged to start implementing AMRT in internal assessments or supplier outreach. So this is all about the update on AMRT. Yeah, these are the references we have taken the information from. Thank you everyone for attending this session.
Thank you, Asha, and thank you, Sanjita. We are on time. And we thank you for your insightful updates. So as we have seen, AP is committed to helping you navigate your compliance journey more efficiently. So whether it's staying on top of new regulations, consolidating reporting data, or improving your supplier collaboration. So we have a specialized tool, which is a customized module like APA Green Check for non-automotive compliance, Autogen CM for conflict minerals and EMRT, ESGHQ for sustainability tracking, and MDS Express for IMDS reporting, which are designed to make your compliance process simpler, more transparent, and future ready. So if you have any follow-up questions regarding this webinar or related to our services and software offerings, please reach out to us at compliance@apaengineering.com. So a gentle reminder that a short survey will pop up once the session ends. So we truly value your feedback as we plan our next sessions ahead. Thank you again for joining us today. We hope you find the session valuable, and we look forward to staying connected. Have a great day.